Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are tackling a huge topic, artificial intelligence in accounting. You've got the promise of incredible efficiency on one hand, and then you've got some very real fears about the future of the profession on the other. So we're going to break it all down, how it's being used right now, the opportunities it's creating, and of course, the big challenges we have to navigate. Let's jump right in. Okay, let's just cut straight to the chase, right? This is the big question on everyone's mind whenever AI enters the conversation. Is your job about to change forever? Well, the short answer, yeah, it already has. This isn't some sci-fi movie prediction for the future. Nope. The shift away from just routine work and towards real strategic thinking, it's happening as we speak. It's reshaping the entire industry right now. All right, so let's talk about the new reality. Let's get practical here. How is AI actually showing up in the day-to-day grind for accountants? You might be surprised just how common it's become.
So when you think of AI in accounting, you probably picture it doing these super complex audits, right? Well, its most common use is actually way more every day. A recent report found that 50% of accountants are already using AI just to help write emails. And beyond that, about a third are using it to automate workflows and speed up their research. It's already part of the toolbox.
Okay, but drafting emails is just the tip of the iceberg. The real potential of AI goes so much deeper. This is where things start to get really transformative. So let's look at the huge opportunities it's starting to unlock.
For any business, the promise here is like a domino effect of good things. It all starts with streamlining processes, which, naturally leads to reducing overhead. But the real magic, that's when AI starts digging through massive amounts of data to find patterns humans might miss. That leads to better forecasting, which then helps you spot fraud and risk. It can even uncover brand new avenues for growth you never knew existed.
I love this quote because it just nails the core idea. This isn't about replacing people. It's about giving you a superpower. Imagine having a virtual assistant that just grinds away at all the boring, repetitive stuff. Data entry, categorizing transactions, you name it. That frees you up to focus on what really matters, strategic advice and building those crucial client relationships.
And you gotta understand, this is not some small niche trend. We're talking about massive growth. The research firm Mortar Intelligence predicts that AI in the accounting industry is gonna grow by more than 30% every single year. That's explosive. It's a clear signal that this technology isn't just a fad, it's here to stay.
But of course, it's not all sunshine and roses. Like with any powerful new tech, there are some pretty big challenges and some very real concerns that we absolutely have to talk about. So if we want to get this right, we have to understand why people are hesitant. And the concerns really fall into two big buckets: the practical stuff and the human stuff. On the practical side, you've got the huge issue of data security. And then there's the simple fact that it's just hard to keep up with how fast everything is changing. Then on the human side, there's that very real fear of losing the personal connection, that human touch that's so critical for building trust with clients.
And this isn't just accountants being worried. The public feels it too. A Forbes study found that a staggering 75%, three-quarters, of consumers are worried about misinformation coming from AI. That is a huge wall of distrust that has to be climbed.
And this right here perfectly illustrates the massive disconnect we're talking about. Look at this. On one side, you have half of the industry leaders saying, yeah, there's huge potential for AI in client-facing roles. But then you ask the clients, and only 15% say they'd actually trust a chatbot for financial advice. See that gap? Bridging that canyon between industry hype and actual customer trust, that is the #1 challenge.
Okay, so let's shift gears and look at the actual AI-powered toolkit, because this isn't just a concept we're talking about. This is real software, and some of it you might already be using. Yeah, you don't have to go searching for some crazy futuristic software-defined AI. It's already there, working quietly behind the scenes in the tools you use every single day. It's powering things like pattern recognition in Excel, and it's what's behind the automatic transaction sorting in Xero and QuickBooks. It's already woven into the fabric of modern accounting.
And the big software companies, they are going all in on this. Take Sage, for example. They just launched their own generative AI assistant, Sage Copilot, and they're building it into pretty much their entire product line. That tells you everything you need to know. AI isn't just a fancy add-on anymore. It's becoming a core feature.
Then you have the more specialized tools, like Vic.ai. This thing is designed to automate the whole shebang.
the entire workflow, from the second an invoice hits your inbox all the way through to making the payment. It's about taking a huge chunk of manual work off your plate. And some companies are taking it even a step further. A tool called Document is basically positioning itself as a complete AI bookkeeper. We're talking automating complex stuff, generating financial reports, handling revenue reconciliation, all with as little human input as possible. And the claims these companies are making are, well, they're pretty wild. Docket's AI bookkeeper, they actually named it Gary, by the way, claims it can take a month-end close that normally takes 2 weeks and crush it down to just 45 minutes. I mean, if that's even close to true, that's a total game changer. So, with all these incredibly powerful tools popping up, the big question for you is this: how do you embrace your future? How do you actually use this stuff effectively while holding on to and maybe even building your clients' trust? Look, the trend here is crystal clear. As AI gets better and better at all the routine number crunching, the value of a human accountant is going to shift. It's going to be less about data entry and more about the big picture stuff, strategic thinking, advising clients, and using those human skills that a machine just can't replicate. Now, here's the good news. That trust gap we talked about, it's not impossible to cross. One survey found that almost 2/3 of consumers, 65%, actually do trust businesses that use AI. That's great. But that still leaves over 1/3 of people who are nervous about it, and you just can't ignore that group. And that brings all this data right back down to earth to your clients. Which group are they in? You really have to know the answer to that. Are they in that trusting majority, or are they part of that nervous minority? Because either way, you have to bring them along on this journey with you. At the end of the day, embracing AI isn't really just about the technology anymore. It's about staying competitive. It's about being able to attract the next generation of talent. And it's about meeting the expectations of your clients who are seeing this stuff everywhere else in their lives. So, that leaves us with one last big question to think about. As the technology gets better and better at handling the what, the numbers, the data, the reports, the value of the accountant shifts completely to the so what. AI is going to handle the numbers. The real question is, what are you going to handle?